It's 6 o'clock. I'm calling the meeting to order. Could you do roll call, please, Bridget?
Chris Brune?
Here.
Adam Carson?
Here.
Linda Hoke?
Here.
Ray Lapinus? Amy Rath?
Here.
John Reinhardt? Carolyn Schofield?
Here.
James Swarthart? Connie Machini?
Here. Is there any public comment back there? Anybody with public comment? Then I need a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
roll call? Or can we just say all those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, passed. There's no presentation. I will tell you, Jim, I've known him for years. I call him Jimmy. Anyway, he's not here because there was a 28-year-old who committed suicide, and they kept him on life support. And tonight at 6 o'clock, they're harvesting parts, and he needs to be there for the family. So that is why he's not here for his first meeting. And I said, that's more important than being here. So, and we've had quite a few suicides in this county lately, just so that you know that. We are interviewing for the executive assistant, Bridget's position. Narrowed it down to 2 people. I met with the 2 people. They're both good. It's up to Bridget. She's got to work with them. So by the end of this week, we should have a new administrative assistant. In December, we're meeting on the 16th at 5 o'clock. Afterwards, we'll go out for a drink or something, just so we can get to know each other a little better. On December 3rd at 1:20, I have my interview to see if they want me back on the board or not. So, and Ray has his too, but there are 6 applicants, so it's really up to them to choose. So, and then the People in Need Forum, that's something to mark on your calendar because it's really a good thing to go to. And it's January 31st at MCC. And the training and educational things are in your packet. I'm not going to go over those. And I will then turn it over to Bridget. Can you give the highlights of your operational report?
Sure. I'm actually going to talk about a couple things that are not on there. You'll notice that we have no camera live streaming. Our camera was broken last time. We've had a couple technical problems. The sounding came today and took the camera, and they're hoping to fix it, and we're hoping to have it replaced by the next meeting. We are still streaming, though. What the public is seeing is whatever is being projected here, and they can still hear us. So we'll keep you updated on that. And then hopefully you all noticed the new sign as you drove in, and if you did not, please look on your way out. So it's all cleared off right now, and we are working with current tenants to see who wants to be on the sign out there. And I think it looks a lot better. So, and if you have, I don't know if you have any other questions on the operations report. There are some important dates on there. The other thing is the ACMI December 4th and 5th. There are those membership meetings going on. There's a few of us going. So if anybody still wants to go, you're welcome to join.
It's in Schaumburg, so it's not like far.
When did you say?
December 4th and 5th.
Anything else, Bridget, that you want to point out?
I would say, do you want to point out the finance part of it? What happened with Northwest CASA?
Amanda, did you want to point anything out?
Mel says something about finance.
Okay.
So just a small change to the 26 funding agreements. Northwest CASA is having some staffing changes or reevaluated their staffing, so they have actually reduced their funding request. So we will be going forward with their contracts using the reduced requested amount. And then what, funds were returned back to the unallocated for future allocation.
Anything else, Mel? Amanda, did you want to?
Just add that we only have one work plan meeting left, so those are cranking along, and we're almost
Good. Okay, then we'll go on to ethics and compliance. Amy. Oh, I haven't turned you on there, sorry.
All right, thank you. We did not have an ethics and compliance meeting in the previous month. We did not have quorum. However, I do have an update. Bear with me just 1 second. As of the end of October, the Ethics and Compliance Committee have completed 32 audits, and at that time there was one report that was still pending, so great work. There was a recoupment within that time period. Some other highlights are that something else we look at are wait lists. Psychiatric wait times have across the board increased, with the exception of Rosecrans. A particularly concerning increase in wait times is with substance abuse, particularly with detox. And there are also wait time increases for IDD services. Many times those are as a result of capacity, where there just simply isn't the ability to take on more. That's a general summary of what was in the ethics and compliance. Any questions? Oh, do I have to go on?
No, she's got it. No, because I'll ask you, actually, and I apologize. It was partially my fault as we didn't have quorum. I'm all confused, so I apologize. But in looking at these, and I know we've had this discussion before, about some of these numbers look great. Like some of them are really good and, very impressive, and we're heading in the right direction. But then there's the ones that really aren't. So like, again, what is our plan to kind of target, those areas that have a drastic gap in the percentages from our target to where we're actually at?
Okay, Amanda, I'll turn you on to hit your thing. I can't.
So you're right. And actually something that before the scheduled meeting, we met with Amy and kind of talked about some of those network target numbers. And I'm not saying necessarily that we need to just change the network target numbers to make it easier, but there are some that maybe aren't necessarily realistic for our location, right? So there's one in particular that we talked about how the network target for housing was pretty high, but the housing availability in McHenry County is so low that that's never going to be a realistic target for us. So rather than just pull national averages as some of our network targets, we talked about at the next ethics and compliance meeting, maybe taking a greater look at some of those numbers, and are those realistic targets for us? Is it realistic for us to say we want to be at the top of the mountain when we're at the very bottom and we need to make baby steps to get up there? So also kind of adjusting some of our targets to fit where we are currently.
Yeah, that would be great, because I know this is new too, right? The process we're using. And I almost would think looking at increased level of functioning. It just very much depends on which you're looking at. Some of those probably will never increase. We're just making it easier to function, but not necessarily increased level of function, if that makes sense. So I think that would be really good. I don't know how we kind of pinpoint a very good barometer of how we're doing and, really get a good grasp on it, because I feel like we shifted to this in hopes that it would show it better, but yet some of the numbers, where there's gaps, there's really big gaps, it seems like. So yeah, that would be great to have sort of that, kind of analyze the targets better if we can.
Yeah. Also, some of those are about maintaining the numbers and not necessarily increasing them. And so, you talk about increasing function. You're right. Someone with developmental disability is not going to, they may, but it's about maintaining function for some of them. And so capturing that in our measurements are important.
Yeah, okay, great. And then I find it interesting that you said about, Amy, about the detox one, because I was, in looking at this, I felt like our opioid programs in particular are doing really well. Like, so interesting that like, that might be an area,
I think that the specific.
it must fall in the other one. It must fall under our regular. So I don't know, maybe, I don't know if it's just because there's such a limited number of providers in the opioid settlement area, but they're doing really well.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
their
good to
beds are
see.
filled all the time.
Yeah, yeah, so it's great to see. Thanks. No, it's looking good, but it's just, yeah, there's just a few left that we need to really pinpoint. So thanks.
Okay, Linda?
I was looking at our numbers also, and it occurred to me that maybe we have wrong targets, but also that possibly we are either asking the wrong question or asking the wrong people. So if you're asking people who are housed, if they're maintained, you know what I mean? Like, we need to narrow down who we're asking the question and how we're asking. So if somebody's been through rehab several times and they're doing well, they're not learning new things, they're just having more success. So I'd like to be part of that process, just when you get to that point, to look at some of those things as well if we don't do it in committee.
Okay,
Yeah,
Chris?
I'm really glad, Carolyn, I'm glad everybody brought this up, because I also, think that it's worthwhile continuing to kind of interrogate our best practices in terms of, program assessment, because it's hard to know in some cases what these domains are really capturing. Like, what is an increased level of functioning? What does that mean? We have a wide range of different measurements, which is, appropriate to the context, but the context is quite varied. Like what, all of the folks that are reflected in here and what functioning means in their individual local context is going to be different. So how do we evaluate this as success? How do we track it over the course of multiple years, not just this year, to see, do we see any trends? I think that's worth doing. I do just think, I also would love to be part of the conversation, because I think that, it is, I want to be very sensitive to the fact that there are a lot of expectations of our providers and not to put any more expectations on them. I want to be able to use whatever it is that they have to use for other reporting requirements and find ways to make that work for us too. So I also was curious as to why, Connie, you kind of referenced the rate of death by suicide in the county.
A lot.
And the numbers of deaths by suicide reported in by the Suicide Awareness Task Force and then the number reported in our report were different. And I was confused about why that was the case.
I don't know why it was different. I can't answer that. I just know that we've had several in the last month overdoses, whether they were intentional or not intentional, but we've had, Jimmy's gone tonight because of the 28-year-old father of two. And didn't know if it was, I talked to him about the person because I know him, if it was intentional or not, but we've had overdoses, quite a few. Are you saying something? Go ahead, Adam.
I might be able to address the suicide. I think suicides overall are down in the county. And are we asking our people we're providing for, or are we talking to the coroner's office? Because I know those numbers are different sometimes. And even in the police world, the coroner will say it's a suicide, but it's not in the police world. So with that, we investigate based on what the coroner says, but sometimes that's differing as well. So that may be contributing to what our numbers are. And there's usually pending toxicology that maybe don't match what they have at this point in time. So that might be contributing to the difference in the numbers. But I think the Substance Awareness Coalition just put out the numbers, and I think we're down.
Yeah.
Usually there's a bump in numbers this time of the year, throughout the end of the year and early into the beginning of next year, but right now we're below average on that, which is good, so. Yes, but suicides in general, that depending on how they're.
Amanda can comment to this question as well.
So our reports, they lag current time, so we're reporting quarter three, which is, I believe, June, July, and August. Oh. Our reports, can you hear me now? Yeah. Our reports lag a little bit because we're reporting quarter three, so it's June, July, and August. So what you could take is these reflect what happened during June, July, and August, and not the last couple of months. Also, we do get our reports from the coroner.
Okay, anybody else, any other discussion? Okay, then, thank you, Amy. We'll go on to,
Yep. Sorry, just to close out, thank you everyone for the feedback and the ideas. The conversation around the way we're measuring has come up more than once, so it would be fantastic at the next meeting if folks are available, if we could come, because we'd love to get that conversation started. It's something we've had some changes here where we had, Karen exited and stuff like that, but would love to give the providers a direction as we're moving into the next year. So thank you everyone for the feedback.
okay, we'll move on to finance and audit. Carolyn?
Thanks. And we did not meet because there was really not a whole lot outside of our normal reporting. So everyone has it in front of you. Happy to answer any questions. I will point out that I'm very proud of staff and where we're at today. It looks like, again, we're going to not use as much fund balance as that we had anticipated. So I think we're going to be, pleased with the end of the year and be able to, move forward and see if we want to use it or keep it in fund balance. We'll have some decisions to make that are actually positive decisions. And the sales tax dollar too is coming a little higher, and we've talked about that before. We're still on track for that to be a little higher than we had anticipated. So some good news that fingers crossed will continue, but nothing outside of, kind of status quo where we've been. But happy to answer any questions because we'll have an update on the investment update later on in the agenda, but this is just on the regular finance reports.
Any questions for Carolyn? If not, then we'll go to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes item A, 6A through 6D.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda 6A through D.
Second?
I'll second.
Roll call. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Where's my head? Thank you, Adam, for pointing that out. Okay. Everybody has voted. All right. Then we're going to old business, mental health board investment update. Mel, is that you?
Okay, so just to let you guys know, we met with Donna once last week and once this week and got a little bit of an update. So in October, $4 million in our assets were moved into an investment account. Trying to think what it's called.
Can you move that over here?
It wasn't the prime, it was the, it's the blue column. What's that called? I can't see it, so.
Is it separately managed account? Is that the one?
Yes, the Schwab account. Couldn't think of what the title is, but the Schwab account, $4 million was moved into that in October. And then just like 2 weeks ago, another $2 million was moved into the iPrime account. So when we originally talked to the broker, that blue chart was kind of given to us as the breakdown of the different splits of funds. And actually, that's not how it wound up being. It wound up being into two separate accounts, but within those two accounts, there is a breakdown of different investments. So the iPrime account is going to be similar to the money market account where we can access the funds as needed. Hopefully, we won't need to. And then the other accounts are more long-term investments. And then that peach column is our current checking market account where we maintained another $2 million in funds. So the first meeting we had with Donna last week was to update us on, the status of where the funds have been moved. And just as a warning, because those funds were in transit for the month of November, we probably will not have as much investment income as we had been getting. So we would normally look between $25,000 and $30,000. I'm not sure where we're going to be at for when we get those November numbers. So the investments are on their way, and the other conversation we had with Donna was regarding the pull down of our sales tax, because we weren't getting it until the end of the month or the beginning of the next month. So we were asking about the timing of that, and did learn that they do pull the funds down closer to the beginning of the month, but it's been sitting in the general fund for the county. So we've requested that they move our funds to our account within a 2 to 3 day window after they pull it down from the state, so that we have quicker access to those funds, and we're also the ones making, the money off of those funds. So that'll be going forward. So those were pretty much the gist of the discussions we had with her. So nothing to report as far as any income or anything, but things are moving and have all been set up. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Carolyn?
I just have a comment and one thing. I just, first of all, want to say Donna and I, we're friends, so we talk every once in a while. And she had nothing but very positive things to say with the interactions she's been having with the mental health board. She's been really, really pleased, and you guys have been extremely helpful, so I really appreciate that. Yeah, she was very positive. Not that she's never always positive, but she did appreciate that. So thank you. And secondly, do you want to just give a little bit of a snippet of the reporting going forward? Because I think you solidified that correctly on how often or when we're going to see those reports.
We're going to be getting quarterly reports from Donna. She's going to be providing them to Bridget and I, and we can speak out to you. And if you guys at any point ever want her to come in and talk, she is more than willing to come to a board meeting. So,
Great, thanks.
The first one should start late January, so possibly, and the February board meeting. Yeah, would be the
Was
first
she
quarterly.
okay about pulling the money down sooner?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
She said
committed
nobody's
now.
ever asked it,
Yeah.
so I guess we're just a little greedier than others. I don't know if we want to put it that way. No.
She complimented Mel with the question because it was a very good question and it made a lot of sense. No one else has asked her, so it was a very good question on Mel's part.
Right.
So.
Okay. Any other questions? I need a second here. Amy? Oh. Well, do it again. There.
Thank you. I want to repeat back what I heard to verify my understanding. So the reason for two separate accounts, are they two different rates with two different levels of access? I just want to make sure I understand why it went into two separate.
Right, it's just two different makeups. It's kind of the one's similar more to a money market account, but with a broader spectrum of investments, I guess, but it's easier to pull from versus the other account is intended to be left alone and kind of more long-term.
Okay, yep,
So
perfect.
the corporates, do you want to explain the difference in the corporates? That was the whole reason she broke it into two.
Yeah, because of the makeup of how governments are allowed to invest, we are limited as far as percentages of things we can invest in.
Okay.
So that also helps prevent,
Okay.
work that out
makes
as
more
far as-
sense. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, we'll move on to insurance renewal, but we aren't going to discuss it because it's going to be put on the December. We don't
Well,
have.
I can give an update.
Oh, okay.
We just can't
Kind of
vote on
explain.
it. Yeah.
So normally this time of year, we would have the proposed insurance policies from the broker. There's been a lot of changes in the insurance market, and like we have to go to a different company for D&O insurance, the directors and operations insurance. The current company we've been with for years is no longer doing that sort of coverage. We now can't get this sexual harassment policy through our general liability. That's got to be written as a separate policy. So because of changes in the market, it's just taking longer to get the quotes and get things rolling. So that is in the process. We normally, like I said, would have voted to approve those plans now, but the general policy and everything is going forward. We're just still working on some underwriting for the others. So those will come to you as soon as we get them. So next meeting.
Okay. Is there member comments here? I have a comment I'll just throw out. NAMI bought a building over there by NISRA, and they will have an open house, I think, in February. But our front of our building will be empty, and then we could clean it out and rent it and do whatever we need to do with the front. But NAMI is going to have a drop-in center, which is something new to this county, and a living room model. And I was able to see where they bought the building and stuff. It's going to be really nice, and I think we'll all be able to go to their open house. So, and Bridget is we'll be able to rent out the front after the rehab. Remember, we're rehabbing the bathrooms and stuff, so that's my comment. Anybody else have any comments? Okay, well then, we have no executive session. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?